Dr. Venkatesh Thupil sir. It's a pleasure because he has been teacher to everybody. But just few lines for you, sir. He's a actually Professor Emeritus from St. John's Medical College, Bangalore. Um, Introducing him, I mean, everybody who is from our field calls him as the lead man of India. He was a director for the project Lead Free of the George Foundation, which was instrumental in getting unleaded petrol to India in March 2000. He served as a national chairman in getting gazette notification for defining limits for lead contents in paints. Dr. Venkatesh sir is also the lead or the principal assessor for NABL, NABH under QCI. He is also the advisor to CAHO, our own CAHO and AHPI. He has served as an accreditation committee member for various bodies, NABL, NABH, DAC, and serving as the chairperson for Laboratory Accreditation Board for Nepal. He's an international chairman for Chronic Hypoxia Society and a visiting professor for universities in Bolivia and US. He's a recipient of many awards, but few of them are International Award for Science, Truth and Honor, prestigious Aryabhatta Award, apart from Lifetime Achievement Award from CAHO. He is also the technical advisor to UNIDO and WHO. He has published so many papers, more than 350 scientific papers. And he's the dearest of all of us. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Aparna. Risk mitigation. Where is risk, in our life? If we had gone and participated in gambling and investing, there's a risk. In finance, there's a risk. Manufacturing industry, they have shut down because of risk. Service industry like hotel industry, including other service industries, are at risk. Transportation, I tell you, highest level of risk. Airlines do have some risk. Insurance, they realize the risk. This concept of risk is not new. They all try to mitigate. All of them try to mitigate. They all try to come and brainwash us, tell us there's no problem. Now, when you look at the gamblers, finance, manufacturing, all are taken care. I tell you, most of them have reached. Airlines have reached very close to Six Sigma. Now, where is it? It's new risk. Is healthcare. Only after 1970. After 1970, we in healthcare industry started looking at risk. Patient safety program, only after 2000. And medical laboratory very recently, about 9 years ago, 8 years ago, we started looking at the risk. Now, the Institute of Medicine, 1999, you must try to get hold of this particular, to err is human. You will find an excellent article written on risk mitigation. Okay, what it says, healthcare is a decade or more behind many other high-risk industries in its attention to ensuring basic safety. What about medical diagnostic laboratory? Today's laboratory medicine is tomorrow's patient care. Today's laboratory medicine, remember, is tomorrow's patient care. What about today's laboratory medicine? Is yesterday's and today's risk to patients. Risk is part of laboratory medicine for time immemorial, from the time the laboratory started. Now, there's Jim Westgard sitting on the right side. I am on the left side. I did not have long hair that time. And also Westgard is, and Greg Cooper is in the middle. We traveled all over India delivering talks several years ago. And in the flight, I asked Jim Westgard, every laboratory remembers you. They know your name. They know your rules. But nobody knows me in my own country. What great thing you have done. What is your contribution in the area of risk? He said, my suggestion to avoid risk, to mitigate risk, there's only one. Shut down all the laboratories. Let there not be any investigation. There is no risk. But I said, what about patient care? Then he said, that risk what we identify should be mitigated. This is the word between Mumbai and Chennai. He told me while we were in the flight. I am going to, I don't want to repeat what all others have already said. You see, these are all standards. Chances of something happening that will impact the objectives Risk care is to dare. These are all some of the definitions. Risk is the effect of uncertainty on objectives. What is that uncertainty? Uncertainty of our whatever we do can happen only because of five things. That's called SWIPE. One is because of the poor quality of the standard we use. W is the workforce may be properly trained. I is the instrument which may not be calibrated. I tell you, they all lead to risk. And P is the personnel who is not trained. E is the environment in which we carry out, we collect sample, transport, and today, samples are transported from where to where. What an amount of risk is involved if they are not properly. That is where we have to mitigate. Mitigation is, risk is already there. How to live safely, how to work safely in that environment, produce safe results for better patients' care. These are all described in these documents, which are discussed already by my earlier speaker, making my job much more easier. Therefore, what I suggest to all of you, please download, if possible, these documents, highlight what is relevant as far as mitigation is concerned. Now, Westgard has put simple. Risk is the possibility of suffering from any harm. Risk is omnipotent in healthcare, is more so in diagnostic services. There's every diagnostic service, small or big, accredited, non-accredited, doing one test or 100 tests, having 50 patients or 5,000 patients. Risk is always associated with healthcare. Like we are all living in an environment today during COVID pandemic. We don't know from which side you get COVID virus. Are we not exposed to? How do we mitigate? We have several devices like maybe plasma emitter, maybe sanitizer, maybe mask, blah, blah, so many things. We are trying to mitigate. What does it mean? Risk will be there, but still we should learn how to live with that without getting affected by that. Therefore, risk management is the art of figuring out possible outcome. Planning for this outcome, risk mitigation is just a science. Remember, if risk management is the art, some are excellent in artwork. Look at Santwana, great artist, I tell you, right from childhood days. But this risk mitigation, when it comes, she becomes a scientist. Risk mitigation is a science because it's highly logical. If quality is going to ask you, how do we do the right thing first? That's what, doing right thing at right time for the right purpose. If quality asks, how do we do the right thing first, right? Then I asked Dr. Abdul Kalam, what is risk management? He said, what can go wrong and what can we do about it? To mitigate and mitigate and mitigate and mitigate. We can't stop it because risk will always be associated with every activity in which you are involved, whether you are marriage, whether you are blah, blah, so many things. Risk is always a component, especially in a laboratory, diagnostic services, where hundreds and thousands of patient samples come, and there's a lot of chances of variables you are handling, name, the gender, the sample volume, test, 2,500 samples for some same test. Can there not be confusion? The confusion is the mother of risk happening, and mitigation is to sort it out. The laboratory, this we have already seen. I am not going to read this again. All those who have ISO 15189, I tell you, this statement will be repeated. I have already seen the 2021 version. I'm also a part of that committee. This 4.14.6 appears somewhere else. I tell you, there's no change in the content of next version of ISO 15189 2021, but there is only rearrangement of the whole thing. There's no change in the content, but there's a rearrangement of the whole thing. You will find it much more comfortable to use that. As Dr. Rana already mentioned, there may not be a requirement of one centralized policy document. We require at every site of activity a policy to be followed. Therefore, there may not be a requirement of quality system manual. There's a requirement of quality documentation at every stage. Okay. When you see 4.15.2, which will become 8 point something in the next version, review, when you look at the review input in the management review meeting, E is the risk management. That's the one place where, this is the second place where in this standard, the risk management is mentioned. But there is nowhere risk mitigation is mentioned in any of these standards. One can never completely predict a cause or outcome of risk. I tell you, risk is not fixed. Can we measure? Yes, it is measurable. Can we also have immeasurable risk? Yes, there is immeasurable risk. Therefore, you have two types of risk. One is measurable, one is immeasurable. Then how to mitigate? The mitigation strategies for measurable and immeasurable are the same or different? Same, I tell you. It deals with the policy of the organization. Therefore, it should be the policy. It is the policy change. It is the matter of the mind over the matter with respect to management who can bring about. Risk is not fixed. Greater the interval between cause and effect. As Zima showed that fishbone diagram, Ishikawa diagram, Fishikawa, it's also called Fishikawa, where if there's a garbage in, there's only garbage out in any organization, whether it's a kitchen or your laboratory. Therefore, if the gap is large, the relationship is recognized. Reduce elements of surprise by increasing information. What does it mean? Awareness. It was told by our previous speaker, Raj Kumar. There should be a tremendous amount of effort to be made to create awareness on day-to-day basis on the possibilities, sources, effect, and impact of risk so that mitigation can be planned. I'll come to that mitigation little later. Risk and the medical laboratory. Clinical decisions are made on the results of analysis. Therefore, I told you, today's biochemistry is tomorrow's medicine, written in Devlin textbook of biochemistry. Those biochemists who are here will know that. And I made a statement in WHO. Today's laboratory's medicine is tomorrow's patient. Patient health. Poor information leads to adverse outcome. Poor information is now information which are not validated. And variables are many. Some are controllable, others difficult to control, and still others that we cannot foresee. There are three types of variables: known, unknown, and what known is controllable and uncontrollable. Laboratory is often seen as the source of the problem regardless of contributing events. The main source is from the pre-examination, pre-sample extraction phase. Pre-examination has three phases: pre-sample collection phase, sample collection phase, post-sample collection phase. Amongst these three, where 60% of the error can occur, the 40% occurs in the pre-sample collection phase, where we prepare the patients. Regardless of contributing event, patient and the patient attendants or bystanders are the first people to contribute towards the risk where mitigation starts. Mitigation starts with proper education to these people. Now, I like this particular slide which I had borrowed from internet. Medical laboratory standards for quality and risk. There are two standards here. One standard is ISO 15189. You all know that it's not 15,189. The first two digit 15 is the group for medical. Last two digit 89 is the guide. First central digit 1 is for in vitro diagnostics on human tissues only. Our Dr. Aparna or somebody cannot do animal tissue diagnosis there for any pathological work because they are all accredited as per 15189. 15 is for medical, 89 is the guide, and 1 is for in vitro diagnostics. This is the third edition. Now the fourth edition will come in another few months. Now ISO 22376. This is, if you must have seen that 22870 for the point of care testing. You have seen 15190 for medical laboratory safety. ISO 22870 is for point of care testing. This point of care testing I had seen as a child during my childhood days. The electrician used to come and measure the voltage, amperage using one instrument. That is a point of care. Point of understanding. Today we have glucometer, point of care, blood gas analyzer, point of care, creatinine estimation, point of care, your pregnancy test, point of care. This 22376 is for medical laboratory reduction of error through risk management and continual improvement. Doesn't talk about risk mitigation. Therefore, quality management framework is what? Quality competence and continual improvement and prevention. Whereas risk management framework is analysis, calculation, risk reduction, but never talks about the mitigation. Mitigation is the foundation for analysis, calculation, risk reduction. Remember that. Mitigation is the foundation for proper management of risk. I'll come to that foundation. If you look at the continual improvement, you know, plan, do, check and act. Plan, do, check and act is modified to medical laboratory. It's no longer PDCA. It's called PDSA. Plan, do, study and act. Study the outcome. When you study the outcome, you come across the inbuilt component of risk. And in that, what I have written in red here, mitigation strategies play an important role. Plan for risk, identify risk, examine for impact, all are discussed by other earlier speakers. Monitor and control outcome is already discussed. Therefore, I've taken the in-between mitigation strategies. Let us look at the mitigation strategies every one of you can follow, whether you are working in a small lab as a technician or a lab director. Now, high risk does not necessarily mean avoid. What a beautiful statement. Low risk does not necessarily mean forget about it. Wow, we are so confused here. High risk on the scale of 5, okay, calculated. Low risk, maybe 1, you cannot forget about it. Risk level set the responsibility matrix for risk decision making, and also it is a basis for which mitigation strategies are planned. Now, what impacts risk decision making? What helps? How mitigation helps? Mitigation helps in reducing the cost due to risk. I tell you, if there's a risk today in United States of America, in any laboratory, that laboratory will be shut down within 1 year when the patient goes to the court, claiming huge damage. Same thing will happen to in India also. I'll tell you, those of you who are working in the laboratory, remember, if we cannot mitigate risk, you are going to lose your job. You are going to lose your laboratory. I tell you, you are going to cause damage to patient, safety to the end user, and the level of confidence comes down. Reputation will all washed out. Alternatives and choices are very limited. Therefore, mitigation of risk is the only foundation on which all the above ones can be taken care. How to mitigate? It involves, I have put it in bold, taking action to reduce an organization's exposure to potential risk. That means risk will always be there. That is potential risk. That taking action to reduce an organization's exposure and reduce the likelihood that those risks will happen again. Risk mitigation is one of the steps in risk management. It's one of the small steps, which includes identifying the risk, analyzing risk, mitigation of risk. Identify, analysis, followed by mitigation. As I told you, I visited 2 weeks ago one of the battery industries. Around the battery industries, within 5-kilometer radius, there are 2,000 plus people surviving today. Surviving, living, I'm not saying living, surviving, because the entire area is polluted by the lead acid battery, exhaust lead, and they have to mitigate. They have to continue to live. They can't run away from there. Laboratory people cannot run away from lab. They have to go back tomorrow. You have to work. How to mitigate? I suggested this area, 5 square kilometer, let them cover it, the barren land with 2 inches of sand, and wherever they can grow, let them grow some grass, some greenery. It will mitigate the lead dust coming to them. This is one way. Mitigation is cover. But remember, dilution is not the solution for any kind of pollution, including the laboratory. By diluting it, by covering it, it doesn't mean it will solve the problem. Risk cannot be eliminated in spite of 100% mitigational activity. Still, it will be there. Risk mitigation is a process of planning. Means when we say planning, it's organized. That means there should be a policy, there should be a management commitment. If management of the laboratory has a commitment, if you see ISO 15189 2021 version, I have the content page with me. It nowhere it says risk, nowhere it talks about this. I thought there will be a separate section for risk. It is not there. Why? In every class, from class 4 to class 8, there are 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 classes. Like we have only 4 and 5 classes in 2013 version. 2021 version, there are 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 classes, 4 classes. Every class, every subclass, every subclass, there's a risk component attached to that. Preventing wrong happening in the diagnostic center is part of the message from this next version, and having a way to lessen negative impact in the diagnostic and treatment protocol. Risk mitigation is very essential. Why do we have to mitigate? Risk will continue to be there, but we should live safely. We cannot live in lead-free environment. Remember, I and you can never live in lead-free environment. Your home is painted with lead. Your children, grandchildren are exposed to lead in the paint, because 91% of market share of paint, including Asian paint, has a lot of lead, 45,000 ppm. Your grandchild will be exposed. But what you should do, how to have safe environment, not lead-free environment, lead-safe environment, not the risk-free laboratory, but risk-safe laboratory, where how do we achieve that? By looking into the mitigation strategies. There are 5 general steps in design process of a risk mitigation plan. Risk mitigation strategy takes into account not only the priorities and protection of mission critical data of each organization. Therefore, it varies from organization to organization. My word of advice to all my youngsters: I am in the evenings of life, you are all in the mornings of life. I am the setting sun, you are the rising sun. I tell you, listen to me. I may not be there to see you successful laboratory person, but you will be successful. What you need to do, you look at the protection of mission critical data of your organization. You cannot copy the risk strategy, risk protocol, risk planning from some other laboratory. It is unique to your laboratory. Any risk that might arise due to the nature of the field of geographical location also. Same laboratory, you are working as a director, you are moving into Canada, you are going to say Abu Dhabi, but I tell you, your strategy will change for risk mitigation. Risk mitigation strategy must also consider organizations, employees, their awareness, training, and their experience. That means their competence, and also in addition to that, their skills. Skill is what? A competence with righteousness in the heart to speak out the truth, and also courage and boldness to speak out truth. If this strategy is there in every one of you in the laboratory, it's very easy to mitigate risk. People are scared to come and tell us what is going wrong because of punitive action. If anybody comes and tells us there's something going wrong, they should be awarded, rewarded. I tell you, then only we can mitigate risk. Therefore, respect those who come out boldly, tell us which instrument is not functioning properly, which control is not behaving properly, which result is not acceptable. They should have boldness irrespective of their status and position. The performance of risk assessment, which involves quantifying the level of risk in the events of identified. Risk assessment involves measure, processes, and control to reduce the impact of risk. This was already told by my previous speaker, and this was also covered priority risk, which involves ranking quantified risk in terms of severity. Then there are certain severity grade can be measured. There are tables, there are scientific methods. One aspect of risk mitigation is prioritization. Now, like we have in the hospital triage, we sort out what our lady with the lamp, Nightingale did in the war field. Those who were almost dying, they were on priority to be treated. In the laboratory, if there is something which is at the edge of causing maximum damage to the end user, that should be attended to better protect another by establishing an acceptable level of risk from different areas. Therefore, risk within the same laboratory, in the same room, may vary from level to level of the processes. The process flow chart should highlight where exactly. That is called tracking of the risk. Risk is dynamic, it's not static. It keeps changing. Tracking risk, which involves monitoring risk as they change in severity and relevance to the organization. It's important to have strong metrics for tracking risk as it involves, and for tracking the plan's ability to meet compliances with many requirements, including the standards, international standard, statutory regulatory requirements, and things like that. And implement and monitor progress. And risk mitigation is no different. In medical laboratory testing, a plan is vital. Risk mitigation is no different from implementing and monitoring the progress. Once plan is in place, regular testing analysis should occur to make sure the plan is up to date and functioning well. Risk-facing data centers are constantly evolving. So if you can identify risk, I think there's a continuity. More and more risk you identify in your workplace, you will be improving day by day, and that will mitigate, that will shift the priorities. And now types of risk mitigation strategies: risk avoidance, risk acceptance, risk transfer, and risk monitoring. I'm not going to read this. These slides will be available to you. For limiting my time, these 5 things you must remember. Then coming to make sure your stakeholders, clinicians, patients are also involved at each step, because risk is, I told you, dynamic. It gets transferred. If you want to mitigate, not only in the laboratory, you have to mitigate right from the patient pre-sample extraction phase till the post result release phase. Even after your clinician starts advising on changing the treatment protocol, even there could be an element of risk. Therefore, mitigation is not just in the laboratory. Pre-laboratory, post-laboratory activities also should be included. Create a strong culture around risk management, involving all partners, involving all stakeholders. Communicate risk as they arise. It varies. Morning, it will be having different costume. Evening, it will have different costume. Same risk, I tell you, because of several factors. And ensure risk management policy is clear, where management must have a commitment and passion. Therefore, management, commitment, and passion. Next version of ISO 15189 demands more and more involvement of management in the management of the laboratory diagnostic center, which covers at the end of the entire standard. In your previous 2012 version, it is in the beginning management requirements. There are 15 requirements, but here there's only one requirement. That is 8, clause 8 covers the entire management requirement. And now I have been advising something like, I should not be boasting myself, in South, about 36 big laboratories are taking my help in the risk mitigation plan. And I had to literally study each laboratory, their strategy, and develop a plan for them. They are not same for all laboratories. They will continuously monitor possible risk, varies from laboratory to laboratory. And when you mitigate risk, risk monitoring practices should also be clearly defined, implemented to continually improve the risk mitigation plan. Therefore, when you look at this, mitigation is our mantra now in a medical testing diagnostic laboratory. And the following 5 strategies can be used in risk mitigation: planning and monitoring, assume and accept, advance of risk, watch and monitor risk, assume and accept risk, do not hesitate, do not hide, do not cover it up, avoidance of risk by any means, at any cost. I tell you, the Harvard study published in Nature, it was in 2019, says if 1% of the revenue from your laboratory is kept aside only for risk mitigation, you get 16% revenue added annually. If 1% of 1 rupee out of 100 is saved for risk mitigation, next year we'll get 116 rupees. That is the beautiful study has been done. Avoidance of risk. This is called what we call preventive measure, and with awareness. Controlling the risk is corrective action. It has happened, but you would like to control the mad horse. I don't know, it may take you in the wrong direction. Transference of risk. That is, from high risk zone, activity are transferred to low risk, or risk factor is transferred. Maybe if the sample collection device is causing the risk, that is transferred to some other device. Watch and monitor. Earlier speaker also, you keep watching and then monitor. Watch and monitor. We must have a lot of patience, time, and remembrance. As we grow older, we forget. Therefore, documentation. Every time we keep on documentation. Good documentation means good risk mitigation. And examples of mitigation strategies include, you please go to the processes, the resources of your laboratory. What are those resources? 5.1 is a resource, 5.2 is a resource, 5.3 is a resource. Personnel, 5.1. 5.2 is accommodation, environmental condition. 5.3, equipment, reagent, and consumables. These are the only resources in the laboratory. All the 8 resources are in this. Processes. There are only 3 processes: 5.5 examination, pre-examination processes, 5.5 examination processes, 5.7 post-examination processes. There are only 3 processes. And the best part is the information, checking information management, rest of the clauses. When you look at that, there the mitigation, risk mitigation can be easily applied, and rest of the technical clauses of ISO 15189 are all the foundations for management of risk and mitigation strategies can be found there. They're all hidden gems. Please discover. Therefore, sources of information to identify risk and hazard for mitigation may be from manufacturer. Therefore, we have to go beyond laboratory. We have to think outside the box. From a patient satisfaction surveys, that means some people get only 10%, 20%. I would like to suggest you get 100% patient satisfaction survey. Do it. And from technical records, this is already covered. As Jim Westgard also told me, I know how to calculate, but mitigation is your responsibility. QC, calibration, maintenance, from process mapping and brainstorming. This is where awareness also puts in. From other lab records, we learn from the other laboratories, from gap analysis using standards. These are all the various means of mitigation and documenting and recording to demonstrate that process is correctly managed. If it is not properly managed, change the process. We are dynamic. The laboratory is very dynamic. Now, provide evidence of a systematic approach to identification analysis. That means there should be authorized, competent people to do that. Complete knowledge database, whether it's based on software or not. If you see 5.10.1, the information management system can be both computerized and non-computerized. It doesn't mean for risk management, risk mitigation, you need a computer. Without that, one can do. I have seen one laboratory in Mysore, beautifully they manage risk, but they don't have a single computer. I tell you, fantastic. They have done an excellent work. Provide decision makers with plan for approval. That's where the policy decision makers will have to come into picture. Provide an accountability mechanism and tool. Facility monitoring and review. Provide an audit trail for mitigation. Share and communicate information. If these things are done meticulously, at least once in a month, I'm not asking every day, once in a month, you will be you'll be equipped with better tools to mitigate risk. I tell you, once your laboratory mitigates risk, loses now. Here, what is happening when you talk about risk management situation, it loses sight of patients and focuses solely on revenue and cost reduction. That is what is happening today. Does not understand the needs of the laboratory, has not defined a goal, objectives for the organization and the laboratory. That's why, we are very poor in risk management or risk mitigation. And one second. Now, risk mitigation is possible. I'm announcing it. It is possible and possible if all of you in your laboratory work like one person, one heart, multiple brains. I tell you, it will happen. There should be a commitment and a passion. With the last slide, I would like to conclude. The only limit in life are the ones you make. Best to all of you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.